In today's video I'm going to be showing you step by step how to customize an Xbox One controller. So here are some of the things that you're going to need. You're going to want to get yourself some acrylic paints and some acetone. It doesn't really matter what acrylic paints you use, but I'm using Angelus paints. Also, you're going to want to get yourself some sandpaper as well. One of the most important things you're going to need is this security T8 screwdriver, which is used to get into the controller because it doesn't have like a normal crosshead or flathead screw. So for today's custom, we're going to be doing a bait design, and for this I'm going to use a stencil. I've linked all of the equipment below and the link to the stencil in the description. So once you've got your equipment ready, the first thing you want to do is take off the two side plates, and the way you do this is by getting preferably a plastic tool, prying it under one of the triggers and then going down that line, and it should pop right off. Once you've done this, it will expose the 5 screws. Now you can get your little security screwdriver and undo these 5 screws. I'd recommend putting them to the side in like a little tray or something so that you don't lose any of them. So once you've undone all the screws, you can now turn the controller over and the front plate should pop right off. You can now put the controller to the side and get sanding. This isn't really necessary, but what I've gone and done is I've taken some acetone and put it on a little cotton pad. This is just so that the paint will have something to stick to. Okay, so now that the front plate's all sanded down, you can now get spray painting. I've used a white primer just to get it prepped and ready for painting. Okay, so once this is all white and it's dried, you can go over it in your base color, and for this I'm going to be using an airbrush, but this can easily be achieved with a paintbrush. It works the same, but I just like to use an airbrush because it comes out smooth. While that's drying, I'm just going to apply the transfer tape to the vinyl stencil so that it can be then applied to the controller. You want to make sure that there aren't any air bubbles, so I'm using something like a ruler to get all the air bubbles out, and then you can trace around it with like an X-Acto knife. Once this is done, you can then peel it off, but make sure you peel it off slowly. You don't want any bits sticking to it. Once you've done this, you can then apply the stencil onto the faceplate and then trim around the edges so that you don't have any excess. I'd definitely recommend using a hairdryer in this, because what it does is it basically heats it up and makes it easier to stick to the surface. Once that's all done, you can then cut around the buttonholes and begin to peel the transfer tape off. This bit can be a little bit tricky and very annoying, so make sure you do it slowly and that you don't leave any gaps. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off the bits that I want in the second colour. Keep in mind this can be done with any set of colours, it can be any colour of camo. I'm just doing red for this because I like the colour. You can then begin to spray on that surface, and the stencil will mean that it will only spray in that area that isn't covered up. Once I've done this, I'm opening up a few more areas that I want to paint, and I'm doing this in an even darker colour. And I'm doing it with a paintbrush this time just to show you that it can be done, and it looks as good, but it's just a little bit quicker with the airbrush and more effective. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave this to dry, and then I'm going to peel off the rest of the stencil, leaving the original colour we started off with at the bottom to be like the lighter colour and to make it look like camo. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over that, and I'm going to see if there's any bits where like the paint has leaked through the stencil or if it just looks bad. So I'm going to go over it, clean it up. Okay, so when this is looking nice and sexy, then I'm going to go over it with a layer of finisher just to keep that shine and to make it easier to grip and to make sure that it's not sticky and that nothing gets scratched or damaged. Here you have the finished product. Once you've done, you can then clip this back onto the front of the controller. You can add the 5 screws back in. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you want me to do more DIY tutorials like this, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. I just want to say a massive thank you for 3,000 subscribers. Thank you all for the support. See you next time.